Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
This is Matt.
and this is Night Games. This is not
Yes.
a review.
Not a review of night games.
No, we
You want a
don't.
review? Go get yourself a 1986 Computer Gaming World or something.
I think
Zap.
Zap reviewed this.
Okay.
There might have been a Computer Gaming World. I'd have to look at Wikipedia to see where they pulled some of the review stuff from again. But
Yeah. I miss Computer Gaming World. I loved that magazine.
Computer Gaming World was good. Commodore Magazine was my magazine of choice back in the 80s, along with whatever they had in the school library, which was Ahoy, Compute, Run. Did you have any of those did you look at computer magazines in the school library, or was I nerdier than you?
I think you were nerdier than me. I gotta say, my main computer periodical that I miss is the Computer Shopper. Do you remember that thing?
Oh, that was
It
a
was like as thick as a phone book, and it was just shit you could order for your computer, like memory, Sims, all that
yeah,
shit. I used to
no,
love to get Computer Shopper and just fantasize about computer
right.
parts.
No, that was a fantastic magazine. It's like you said, it's thick as hell. You could kill somebody with that. That was a
Oh yeah,
beast of a book. Now,
yep.
if you're new to us, you might already be going, what does this have to do with night games? And the answer is not a thing. That's
Not a
just how
damn
this
thing.
goes sometimes. And this is why we say it's
Yep,
not a review. Conversation between friends of what night games makes us think about.
exactly.
It's our feelings, our take on the game, its systems, its manuals or lack thereof sometimes,
Yeah. Yep.
its etc.
Yeah. And share, feel free to share your favorite computer periodical in the comments on the Discord that someone so graciously created for us.
Reddit.
On the subreddit. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all
you
out
that
there.
was smooth, Matt. That is we
I
normally don't
know.
shill for ourselves, but that was just
I'm media savvy, dude. I'm an influencer.
I mean, you didn't mention Patreon, but
Oh
I'll let
shit.
it slide this time. I'll let it slide this
Yeah.
time.
I'm
God,
sorry.
I feel dirty with all that. All right, here we go.
I
We're
know.
starting the
Moving
video
on,
up,
moving along.
moving along. Actually, pausing this
Pausing
because
it hasn't moved yet.
I know. Well, it's loading in its Commodore speeds.
Oh, no, it's not paused.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I love this loading screen.
It's a little bit something.
Right. So they've got the name on it twice down each side and like banners.
Hmm.
There's the title on the bottom or from the publisher English Software is also by Mastertronic here in the States.
Hmm.
Like I like the little gleam on the sword. I always felt like the sword maybe that's a little short. Did you find the sword looks short to you, right?
It's a little on the small side, yeah. That's not what you want to go into combat with when you're a knight.
I also really love his purple armpit hair. Like I don't know
Right.
what that's about.
I don't know. Did they like draw the whole thing and they're like, that's missing something. What should we do?
Give him some purple hair tentacle.
Tenticular armpit hair. That's clearly what this needed.
It's an
Yeah.
octopus is taking him over.
Yeah. Cool loading screen though.
Cool loading screen. My other thing is at the top it says bet you underscored can't beat a good night. Like he's calling me out. Like me specifically. Like you, underline you asshole. You can't beat a good
Yep.
night.
That's what they did with video games though back in the day because it was always like you're playing. Are you a bad enough dude to rescue the president? Blah 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 blah. And it was always like, oh, I'm the cool knight guy. And like, no,
Yeah.
you're not.
No, you're
No, you're
not. You can't beat a good night. Could you
Nope.
beat a good night though, Matt? Could you beat? Maybe these guys weren't good
Oh,
knights. Maybe that's our problem.
they were definitely not very good knights. Is
Okay.
this still loading? Have you really started the video?
I started it up again. I did pause for a little bit while we talked about it,
Okay,
but I've kicked it into
right. Be a
forward gear.
shame if we missed anything. Okay.
Okay, the game came out in 1986 for the Amstrad, the C64, and MS DOS. As far as I know, I don't think it came out for the Spectrum.
I didn't see any Spectrum.
I didn't either, but just want to float out there that I looked. If someone knows it came out for the Spectrum, let me know.
Yeah, and this was a Mastertronic game in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and we have played exactly one other Mastertronic game,
So
and that
far,
was
yes.
Spellbound.
Yes.
And they're known as being kind of budget conscious games.
Well, you
And it's
jump.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead. No,
go
go
ahead.
for it. Finish up.
I
Finish
was
up.
going to say it's important as you play this to keep that in mind, just like it was important with Spellbound, because like there's not a lot here, and you have to remember that this thing cost $2 in like the 80s, so now it would retail for like no money at all.
Right. I was gonna. This was gonna be my twist at the end. We were gonna talk about this, and then I was gonna ask. I bought this retail from B. Dalton back in the day. Do you know how much I spent for it? And not with like stickers taped on, like $9.99, $8.99, $5.99.
Yeah, you're talking MSRP shit.
Right. $3.
$3.
I bought it for
And
$3.
for $3, I'm impressed.
Yes.
I am impressed with this game for $3. Good job, John Williams. Good job, English Software.
Colin Brown graphics, musician,
Yes.
David Whitaker. Of the three, David Whitaker was the most prolific in his career, it looked like.
Yeah, David Whitaker made the sound for a ton of games. The one that stood out to me most was Lemmings 2, because I remember the music from Lemmings 2. But he did tons of music for tons of different games.
What stood out to me is the game he didn't do it for. He did it for Magic Knight, which was the prequel to Spellbound. He did it for Stormbringer, which was the sequel to Spellbound, but he didn't do it for Spellbound.
Weird. I didn't notice that.
I as soon as I saw Magic Knight, I'm like, oh, I bet he did Spell. No, he didn't. That's
My reaction to that was blah blah blah. Scrolling through the list. Oh, Lemmings 2, I remember that. Blah blah blah. Max Headroom. There was a Max Headroom game. Like I didn't know that. What the? I had no idea.
there was
Did
a
you
Magic.
know? Have you ever heard of the game Mutant? I think it's called Mutant Llamas.
Yes.
Mutant Attack of the Mutant Camels.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing I was surprised about in researching this game. I have never heard of it.
It's not the game we're playing next, but hold on to that little nugget of wisdom, for it will come up in next month's game, I'm sure.
Oh, no doubt. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
To find out what next month's game is. Support us on Patreon.
That's what we call a teaser. That's the professionalism we bring. Here's the thing. Like, my son was watching me play this game. He's like, is there a Night Games 2? And I'm like, no, there's no way there's a Night Games 2. There's a Night Games 2.
Yep.
Night Games 2 Space Trilogy.
Of course.
Of course. Set
Where
in the
do you
year
go from
3002.
this?
It consists 3 different games: Combat Robot, In Orbit, and Final Tournament.
Perfect. Get it on the list.
Hard.
We gotta play that shit. Absolutely. If it's anything like Night Games, it'll take us roughly 20 minutes of effort to understand the game in its entirety.
In its entirety. When we talk, so we haven't mentioned this at the beginning, but each month we do 2 games: a short game that we can play through, understand in about a day, and then a long game we play for the entire month.
Yes.
Never before has we can play it in a day been more true than this. Holy cow.
If your brain works like my brain works, your approach to this game will be, you'll sit down, you'll look at the options, you'll pick an archery thing because shooting things is always super fun in every game ever, and like you can't fuck it up. And you'll play that and you'll be like, okay, I know what that is. And then you'll pick one of the, is it 6 weapon challenges? Yes. There's like 2 sword fighting, pike, ball and chain, Axeman,
Mm-hmm.
which is what it's called. I don't know why. It's
Yeah.
Axeman. And then like one other one.
Yeah.
I
Mace, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that. And you'll pick one of those.
Quarterstaff. Quarterstaff.
Quarterstaff. That's right, because you're on the log like Robin Hood and Little John.
Yes.
Uh, and you'll play one of those, and then you can stop because you've seen everything that this game is going to do.
Right. This game is 2 games with different coats of paint on each.
Yes.
Now, it didn't have to be, and I really want to talk about that. Because like when you pick a tournament, when you pick something like I'm going to do longsword, the other guy is going to have exactly the same weapon and exactly the same moves. And if you push up, down, left, and right, you'll do one of 4 offensive moves. And if you push diagonally in each of the 4 directions, you'll do one of 4 defensive moves. They each have a different range, so depending on how far you are from the opponent, you might or might not hit them. If they're doing a defensive move at the moment, you might or might not, they might or might not take damage. That's it. Like, and that's the instructions, by the way. It doesn't break out what each of the different moves are for each weapon. It just says that. So if you're standing far enough away that the reach attack is what's going to hit, then same with the other guy. And you guys just stand there until one of you falls down.
And if you hold the button and move, then you scoot forward or back.
Right. So you can adjust to where you want to be.
Yeah, is kind of an afterthought because it doesn't really matter. Because sometimes you just like scoot all the way across the screen, like depending on how you're doing. It's really odd.
Right. The thing is, when you're fighting the computer will change up its attacks, which means if you've reached the perfect distance for an attack, you just spam it. And the computer will sometimes do stuff that hits you and sometimes won't. And therefore, by you spamming the attack that's hitting it, you will win just because the computer will randomly sometimes do an attack that doesn't hit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you won't get high score with that, but who cares?
And herein lies the problem with night games, because I sat down and played this game without reading the manual.
Me too.
And I thought I have to hit a button and move in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't do that. You don't hit the button because you won't swing. So then I went out and like read the manual and learned, and the manual is terrible. It's like 2 pictures, that show you which way to move the joystick.
Yep.
And there's like these things on the left side that are disappearing that look like little targets. Those are roses.
Mm-hmm.
The candle is the timer, and the shields on the top are like your life.
Yep.
Kind of.
It
doesn't tell you any of that in the manual. Like it
the manual I had did.
It mentions.
I guess it mentions it. Yeah. It tells you how much points you get for each.
You get points for roses and points for the shields, but it doesn't really explain it. And even like if you kind of figure that out, really what you figure out is that every 1,000 points someone gets knocked down. Mm-hmm. If you're playing a short round, they say it's 4 minutes, but for me it always ended at 5,000 points. So I don't know if it's really timed.
It is really timed.
Okay. Then it just must be a grand coincidence that my 4-minute rounds always ended at 5,000
Did you always knock them out?
Oh, yeah. If you get 5 knockdowns, that must be a knockout.
Yeah, if you get 5 knockdowns, if you remove all their shields, it's over no matter how much time's left.
Right. Okay.
So therefore, yes, you might have had less than 4 minutes. But otherwise, if the candle burns out, then you're done.
Then you're done. That makes sense. But the point here is, and I got off on a little tangent there, but the problem with night games is that the moves don't mean anything. Because I never understood that the moves have anything to do with distance. And the defensive moves can cause damage, and you can win this game by just randomly tapping buttons, because that's what I did. I won every round with a knockout randomly tapping buttons.
You can win every round with a knockout, randomly, slamming that thing around. Again, you won't get a high score with that. And
High score compared to what?
Compared to your last game. Like, it saves the high scores.
Yeah.
So if you want a higher score, then you got to get better.
I don't think that's true, because if you get 250 points for knocking out a shield, I don't see how you can get, and five knockdowns is a win. That seems like you don't have a lot of
There's bonus for timer. There's bonus for how much you got left, I think. We'll watch here when this is over and see how this goes down. But it is possible to have higher scores based on how well you do it. But I think where this game would shine, like a lot of other games we've said, is if you and I were playing against each other.
That's what I felt too. And so in my quest to make this game make sense, I played some single player because I wanted to see what the moves really were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's a defensive move? What's the offensive move? And that's kind of when I got a sense for, like, maybe there's some range in there, and maybe you can cause damage with a defensive move, which is true. But it's still like, you don't need to do any of that. You can win it just tapping in a direction. The
quarterstaff and pike were the games that showed me there's range, because you can watch the quarterstaff actually like you're watching me reach way out and tap with it. The other weapons don't always have that range. So here, like, I've got the 5,000 like you're talking about, because I beat him and I've got 2 left. So I get 100 points per shield I have left, plus a knockout bonus. So if I had more shields left, my score would be higher. Do you care? Yeah, no, most of us don't. No, not really.
No. But again, if you're a little kid with $3, maybe you find a way to care about that. But I definitely did not. But in that exercise, I started to think about, well, like, I've played tons of fighting games where I don't know what I'm doing and I've just tapped buttons and won. But I really liked it when I was playing those games. So what's up with this? Why did I not like this?
Are you asking? Because I have the answer.
I think I have the answer too, but I'd like to hear what you think.
There's no sense of impact on those strikes.
Yes. There's no sense that you're really doing anything. You don't know when you're scoring a big hit because all the hits are worth 25, and there's no moves. Like when you're tapping away at Street Fighter and you accidentally do something cool, it's like, whoa, your brain's like, oh, okay, that was cool. Like, I want to do that again because it was effective. But in this game, nothing feels effective because it all just looks like a big mishmash of throwing your whatever weapon you happen to be playing around.
So one of the things I wanted to kind of bring up, let me find it here. Let me find my notes. Watch me cover you up for a second, but I don't think I will. Okay, cool, I won't. Fighting game history. 1983, Attack of the Phantom Karate Devils. It's considered the first side view fighting game.
A total masterpiece.
Total masterpiece.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to cover that game someday. 1984, Karate Champ. 1985, Way of the Exploding Fist and International Karate. Now, with each of those games, when you hit the guy, combat stopped and points were awarded. There was always an impact because you watched the guy double up or get knocked down or something. There was a response to your hit. This was sort of the first game in that list, and maybe there was another one before it, but not that I know of, where this had a hit point system. This has a health bar, basically. And because of that, it didn't know yet to add the impact.
It does go ding.
Yeah.
It makes a little weapon ding noise.
Which is fine.
I appreciate the thought.
Yeah. There was an attempt, but we needed the guy to go, you know?
Right. Something. Like you need some feedback. Or like I know this is before they're like going to give you full on moves, but if you look at like this, whenever we talk about a game like this, I always come back to the swashbuckling and Sid Meier's Pirates
Mm-hmm.
because it's really good and you're like doing things and you can win by mashing,
Yeah.
but when you're being cautious and defensive and like thoughtful about it, it's way more fun and you know that you're doing it.
Yeah. That and one of my problems with it is it's fine. Because we're talking about like there's no impact to your shots, and that sucks. But the moves themselves, we've both played fighting games where like you do something and you're like, I know I moved that joystick. It didn't do what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt that with this game. It always did what I wanted. It didn't have a lot of impact behind it, and that sucks. But it always did what I wanted. There's not a lot of flow, but there is a collection of moves that each do a different thing. So it's one of those where it's like there's two things that are bad about it, two things that are good about it, and it's fine. Especially for $3.
For $3, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
For like anything more than that, I really don't because
Mm-mm.
the moves they don't look like the defensive moves don't look any different than the offensive moves. You don't get any. You have no idea when you blocked. You're not entirely sure if you did an offensive or a defensive move. Sometimes,
There's only a couple defensive moves that look different where the guy like there's where the knight will actually like cover his head for a second, and
right?
so like okay, there is, that's what clued me in that there's blocking. Like maybe I should read the manual and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I don't know. It's fine. It works for a button masher game, but it's not Nidhogg, that's for sure.
No, no. If you're gonna play, I would say that this game is worth grabbing a friend once COVID's over and a couple joysticks and play it with them because the music's good,
Music's
the
good.
backgrounds are beautiful, and you really they did a great job putting you in different like medieval kind of locations, and they're great. They're like
Yeah.
really really good backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like with the help of a friend, you could sort out some kind of
Right.
sense that you're doing well. I sure didn't. Like I was always within a couple hundred points of the computer. Uh,
I
and it was just always the same.
I think with a friend I would at least think about tactics. Once I realized as long as my hit's consistently hitting, I'll win. It's a war of attrition, and I'll win because he'll occasionally do something he shouldn't have done because the computer's random.
Mm-hmm.
Where I know what I'm doing. Bam, bam, bam. Repeat, repeat, repeat until he goes down.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics, though, like the sprites are colorful.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't have a washed out Commodore brown look to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sounds good. One of the things, let me pause this screen here. They give you options going into the fight. How many minutes you want it to take, player versus player, and whether you want the music on or off. First off, I think that's backwards. I feel like Knight should be 4 minutes and Squire and Novus should be 8, because if it's not always easy to get a knockout in 4 minutes. I usually am cutting it pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
So for a knight to get a knockout in 4 minutes, that's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But if you gave me 8 minutes, I'm always going to get the knockout.
Oh yeah.
I'm always going to get the knockout.
Once I stopped trying to swing with the buttons, literally every game I had the same outcome pretty much.
Right. The thing I would have liked to see in here instead is number of falls. How many shields do you get? That would have been a very... I always hesitate to say simple add to someone's code, but I have to believe that wouldn't have been too hard to do. Start out with a lower number of shields.
Right, and then you could handicap if you're doing player versus player.
Yeah.
If you knew someone was like really sucked at it, like you probably would, then like I could give you more shields because I know you would need that because you're just not very good at video games.
I'm not good at video games. I
am excellent, and I could just have a few, like 2 shields is probably all I would need. Maybe even one. I'm not sure.
Possibly one.
We'll never know, but but I think that's true.
That sounds true. That sounds true.
Look at this grate. Like you're on a drawbridge and it's cool and like you can tell it's a castle. This is pretty brown. This is one of the browner ones.
This is one of the browner ones. Here's what I want you to watch. They animated the shadows.
Yes, they did. I didn't notice that.
They didn't have to do that because no one was paying attention to that. You could have blobbed under that and been fine, but they animated the shadows.
Good on them. Good job.
Good job.
I like that candle's cool, like as a timer.
Yeah,
like, they did a really good job giving it the feel of medieval stuff. The roses don't really look like roses at all, and like I would have no idea.
Right. I don't totally like a health bar at top would have been fine. There's other options to that. The health system's a little convoluted, but
yeah,
that's a pretty nitpicky thing. I feel like the teleporting sword entry cracks me up.
Right. Kind of a mixed bag there.
Like, I don't understand that one, but okay, I'll let it go.
Yeah. You do Unite games.
I also... Go on.
I was going to say the sprites are good and the animation is pretty good, even though I wasn't totally enamored with the distinctness of the moves, but like this is good animation for 1986. It looks cool.
Now, I think I said before when I was talking about Way of the Exploding Fist and International Karate that this game didn't have a lot of flow. And what I meant by that is, like, if you watch these moves, the moves are flowy. There's plenty of animations behind them. They put some effort into more than just a 2-step back and extend. Like there's a swing, there's an overhead, there's several frames of animation for each attack. But when you play International Karate or Way of the Exploding Fist, the moves flow together. You feel like water, like everything's stepping into the next thing, and it just all connects in this beautiful dance. This is, I do a move, it stops. I do a move, it stops. I never feel a flow between moves. But the moves individually do, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's not super fun, I would say. But again, like I think, try it with your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna mention the $3 thing. The other thing I just wanted to point out is like normally, like I remember liking this game as a kid. But then as I was thinking about it as we were going into this, because I'm like, this wasn't a good game. Like this wasn't this wasn't a good game. But it still didn't make me not like it. And I think it's because of the $3 thing. I think I played it a little bit then. I don't feel like I got ripped off. I don't feel like I spent $30 on an auto duel or $40 on an auto duel. I spent $3. I got, it was on an end cap of like, here's a bunch of crap games. This is what you can afford this week. Enjoy. You're not blowing your whole allowance on something that's not going to work out for you.
Right. Yeah, it works in that space. It's a little thing to spend, and it was probably perfect for a short game. Because Like you can experience it all really quick, and it's not a terrible experience.
No.
It's not like infuriating. It's just like lacks nuance and impact.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right. I
Like
think
John Williams, who coded it, shouldn't feel bad if he's
no.
listening to this. You did a good job.
You did a good job, buddy.
Yeah.
I think I spent most of my time though when I played this as a kid crossbow.
Mm-hmm. It requires timing and accuracy. Like there's more to the archery games, I think, than there is to the fighting games.
Yeah, this is sword 2. I'm gonna pike staff.
Why did they need two swords?
I don't know why they needed 2 swords.
Just like they had another background,
Yeah.
I'll bet.
In this game, oh, that's the other thing I was going to say. This game all plays kind of like summer games, winter games, where you go to a main screen, you pick your competition, you go to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would have been better is more of a what came to be known in the fighting things. Like, let me pick my weapon and then put me against quarterstaff, put me against ball and chain, but make me take that weapon against each individual thing. Because then there's going to be one move that's better. Like quarterstaff, that thing has reach on it. I'm going to get hit if I stay way back. So I'm going to have to come in and do closer moves and stuff. Like that would have been a far more interesting game.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I don't know how hard that would have been to do because I know there's a sprite limit to what you can do on a Commodore, but
yeah.
Right. Crossbow, here we go. Found
Yes.
crossbow.
So the archery ones are both accuracy and timing because the targets move in some way. With archery, it's like horses on a thing.
Yeah.
Here they inexplicably spin, I guess, in the wind. I don't know.
Right. Each one's worth different points. And your cursor jiggles to make it hard on you.
Yeah. And this one I felt like I got better at as I did it, which was definitely not the case with the fighting ones where I just felt like I figured out how to win. I'm just going to win all the time now, so why should I bother doing anything else?
Right.
Here I still missed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of read the targets, you have to kind of understand when they're going to spin and how long your shots take. There's a lot more to this one, I think.
Mm-hmm. The archery one, I don't know. I never liked it. The horses going by, it was fine, but I don't know. I didn't care for it all that much. This one I liked a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite of all of the games is the crossbow. And the crossbow alone is worth $3. We keep harping on that, but I think it changed when we both understood that this was a budget game. I think it changed both of our relationships to this game.
Yeah, it took it from why am I not mad at this to because it was $3. Because it's the sort of thing I would have gotten in a bundle of games on Steam, or it's one of those where during a Steam sale, it's like, this is $1. Like, all right, I'll give you, it's worth $1 my time.
Sure.
Kind of like I bought all 3 Ninja Turtle movies on VHS because they were $1 each. And I'm like, if I ever get the urge to watch one on like a bad night, it costs more to rent. I might as well pick them up.
Right. On a bad night.
On a bad night.
When you're at your lowest. How could it get any worse? I'm gonna watch the TMNT trilogy front to back.
I want to go back to feeling like I'm in high school. Haven't you ever had that? Just like, I want to feel like a kid for just 5 minutes.
Oh God, yeah, sure.
And so you just pick something. You're like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yep. With Vanilla Ice, I'll bet you know all the words to that song. Go Ninja, go
I
Ninja.
don't know the Vanilla Ice one. I know the Partners in Crime one.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
But I don't know the Vanilla Ice one.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll spare the audience though.
Yeah, we thank you for it.
Maybe during the live stream next week for Knox.
Yeah, as we learned on the live stream last week, you don't like the animated Transformers movie. Was that on the live stream that we discussed?
That was on the live stream that we discussed that.
That's shocking to me.
Yeah.
I'm not over that, to be honest.
I understand. I'm, I am definitely one of the few nerds who's like,
That's good though. Like it's good to be a nerd with your own opinions.
yeah,
You don't have to just like something because the nerd hive mind likes it. So
right.
good on you.
Good on
Even
me.
though I think you're
Even though I'm
woefully
wrong.
misguided on this one, but
You're allowed to be wrong.
yeah.
Don't do it too often, but you're allowed to be wrong. And this one crashed on me after I got most of the way through Axeman, which was a bit of a bummer. But
Why Axeman?
I don't know why.
I just do not get why it's called Axeman. It's not Swordman and Pikeman.
No. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
I feel like we've done our jobs here with night games. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
I don't
Except
either.
that the cover is pretty great.
The cover is pretty great. Cover's fantastic. I mean, why do you think I spent $2? I'm like, I'll spend $2 just to hang that cover on my wall. Like,
No kidding. That's good stuff.
all right. The game we're playing for our long game this month is Below the Root, which is simultaneously what I expected and not what I expected.
Yep.
We'll talk more about it in a few weeks here.
It's based on a teen, young adult, or children's book. I don't know really. Like, stay tuned and we'll do our research and let you know.
Yeah, we'll learn more about the books and stuff. I think we kind of have to because what is the name of the shirt thing? Like a Sharubo or something?
Yeah, Shuba.
Shuba.
Is that what it is? Shuba? Shuba?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know, but apparently it lets me float, so that's cool.
Yeah, you end up floating a lot in this fucking thing.
All right, and our short game, going back to the mutant camels. M.U.L.E.
We have played M.U.L.E together, and I'm really excited. Maybe we'll find a way to do it. Like, we worked out multiplayer Commodore at one time.
We have, and we should try to figure that out more seriously. But
yeah, but man, M.U.L.E is a thing, so we're gonna play it.
Yep, M.U.L.E's a thing. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to talking about that next month. This Thursday, Knox.
Yes,
And then yeah. That's where we'll go from there.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
I hope. I certainly hope.
It will or else. Dance for me, monkey.
Yeah. Come join the stream and watch me get killed by every storm cloud I see.
Every time.
Every time. It's not that I'm a magnet for them. I just don't understand the simple mechanics of getting the fuck out of the way of the storm cloud in their case. It's like beyond me. I have a house and a career.
And a storm cloud moves lower left to upper right, and you're like, I don't know what to do. It could go anywhere.
I'm just going to start ending the stream and quitting it every time I get killed by it.
That's it. Game over, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yep. Can't do it again.
Can't do it again. I get it, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to everybody later. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.
Big thank you to all of you watching, sharing, liking, subscribing, suggesting games, commenting on our videos, or supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate all of your support and look forward to sharing many more videos with you. Thank you again.